many other stakeholders. So we are aware, but furthermore, just with regards to sabotage, the municipal managers are here, they are in attendance. We also know that municipal infrastructure is deliberately sabotaged. And sometimes municipal officials are also responsible for the sabotage of municipal infrastructure. And why do they do this? They collude with service providers that will be providing the water tankering to municipalities. We've seen it recently when we held an inquiry in the Northern Cape, many municipal managers acknowledging that they're still making use of water tankering. But then, then they spend 1.2 million rand on a service provider just to transport their own water to communities, 1.2 million a month. And then those municipalities, when you meet with them, they tell you, listen, we just don't have sufficient funds to provide adequate services to communities. But if there was less wastage, less corruption, less maladministration, they would not be in these positions. So sabotage and collusion of municipal officials and service providers is rife in the country. In this province, definitely. I've held subpoena hearings. It's happening in this province, in specific municipalities. In a number of municipalities in the Northern Cape where we've conducted an inquiry, in a number of municipalities in the Free State. Many municipalities, even in the Western Cape, the council members in the Western Cape have told me, but in our province, it's also happening. We are not allowed access into certain areas in this city because of mafias, because of water mafias, construction mafias. We are not allowed access into some suburbs and areas. So it is a problem that needs to be addressed, and it can only be addressed if there's criminal prosecution in terms of the Criminal Matters Amendment Act. Only way it can be addressed, and that we have brought to the attention of every parliament, provincial government, ministers. It's important that that now be implemented. I'm going to request the provincial manager to deal with the disability issues. We will also link you, sir, with Commissioner Quinana, who's dealing with persons with disabilities. Perhaps just to, when we had the inquiry in the Northern Cape, she also participated on the panel, and she really made it very difficult. Think that if a mayor just before Christmas can convene a few people, older people and people with disabilities, give them a few snacks and arrange them a meal at a specific event, they have now dealt with persons with disabilities. They have now dealt with older people, but they are not complying with their legislative responsibilities. And I think it's important that we link you also with Commissioner Quinana's office, just to advise you and municipalities in this province on how to deal with their legislative obligation with regards to the matters that you have mentioned. I'm going to request the PM to respond to the other matters.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Indeed, you have stated a mouthful. Perhaps also just echoing what you've said, which is relating to the interventions the provincial government is making in provinces. Indeed, what's the English saying? The taste is in the, is it the pudding, or the pudding is in the taste? Sorry, I'm not an English person. And indeed, when you are tasting it, it's clear that whatever interventions are, and I think they are not effective. This is why We have pointed it out because even municipalities themselves, they say to us, we are doing this, we are doing that, we have plans to do this, but the reality is, if whatever you've planned and you go on the ground, it doesn't reflect that, it's telling you that it's ineffective, which is why if you go to the recommendations, we have indicated that even those municipalities that have said they have plans, they have programs, they need to review them and ensure that they put in place plans that work. Also, COGTA made submissions of various interventions that are said to be done in municipalities that are still failing to do the basics. So that's why, as part of the recommendations in paragraph 42.1, we have indicated that COGTA, together with those municipalities, must review all the current interventions and implement additional interventions as required, because in many instances, those interventions are similarly ineffective. Also, the issue of the vandalism of infrastructure is also acknowledged in the report. If you refer to paragraph 25.13 of the report, that we are mindful that there are many challenges that municipalities face, including the issue of vandalism and theft of critical infrastructure. So it is acknowledged in this report. But what is important, my colleague from MISA, is we are indicating in the report is not for the Commission to address these challenges. We are saying that the municipality, since you know your operational environment when you plan, you know your risks when you plan, and one of the biggest risks you have is infrastructure, theft and vandalism, which means that when you plan, you must plan and factor this risk in the mitigation factor. So it's not for the Commission to address, but for the duty bearers to ensure that now they understand their operational environment and the risks. How do they mitigate it? And we have specifically requested the provincial department to also assist the departments, the municipalities, in addressing particularly the security challenges that municipalities are facing in order to secure service delivery infrastructure from vandalism, theft, and theft. So we have made provision for this issue. And I apologize, we had hoped as a South African Human Rights Commission that there would be a sign language interpreter as well, because inclusion, not just in events, but in important discourse. But because of various challenges with the procurement, they could not be here. But we wish, through you, since you are saying you are a leader, my leader, you are a leader, we will engage, and through you, please, if you can make a platform available for us to also engage the sector on this report, because the issue of water, the issue of sanitation, the issue of sewer spillages equally affects persons with disabilities, particularly when we look at issue of roads. There are unique challenges also that persons with disabilities experience when our roads are not accessible. So we will welcome the opportunity to engage with the sector on the issues in this report, which is limited to service delivery issues, which equally affect them, but also on other issues that affect the disability sector.
Thank you very much. I noted one question that is still on the floor. Are there any other questions, or should I start now pointing people? Because Commissioner, we've got our friend in the Commission, which form part of FEAST. One of them is representing FEAST. Before we close, it would be amiss of me not to be an opportunity just to say something. Thank you very much. PSA. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Jabu Africa from the CBC. You started off with a sluggo of statement. One, defining the recalcitrant nature of agencies of the state, especially when you alluded to the disrespect and the posture that they showed to the Commission. Now, gleaning over from your experience from Masilonyana local municipality in the Free State and your achievement with that. How is the commission going to change its posture dealing with the same attitude that is being displayed here? I will give you one case in point. You will have an MM from Kagisanomolopo leaving the municipality under a cloud. The MM resigns. He does not take the 5-year cooling period that he needs to take, and is appointed as an MM in Ditsobotla municipality. You could see systematic issues in Ditsobotla municipality where water issues are concerned, electricity issues are concerned. You go back to Kagisanomolopo, you would see the same person who was the accounting officer in the municipality is then appointed to another systematic municipality. My question to you is, though you are asking that we play our role as the media and other agents where we could highlight these issues, do you think your approach does need to be tweaked given the nature of the beast that we are confronting? Thank you.
For clarity, can I engage on this question? Noting the itinerary. Are you talking about the current sitting MM, or you are referring to previous?
Current.
Thank you. And then there's a lady.
Good day, my name is Mel from Burn Foundation, and my question, or rather input, is from the findings of the commission. One of the findings is to support municipalities with technical expertise and project management. So in regards to Nagamotiri municipality, last year they partnered with LG CETA and the government of China to intervene in service delivery challenges and empowering South Africans in water and business skills. Can you please, as the commission, find out how has this benefited the municipality? Are the technical skills and scarce skills that were acquired from China being put into place to curb the service delivery challenges? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I will hand it over to PM and Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. There's a question that we forgot to answer on last one of the question. Our stance on the payment for services. The law is very clear that services must be offered in a sustainable manner, and that those who can afford to pay must pay for services. It was, I don't remember when, was it in September, Rabbi, when we were in Kagisanomolopo? When were we in Kagisanomolopo? In August, and we're doing monitoring in Kagisanomolopo. And then we met with the municipality to understand what their challenges are. And they told us that they do not have money. And I challenged them to say, I've been driving around this municipality, and the houses that I saw in Kagisanomolopo, I don't live in that kind of house. People there have very big houses, which tells me that people have money. And I asked them, how can you say you are not generating revenue when you have so many people in your municipality that have money? But there has been this misnomer in many municipalities to say revenue must only be raised in certain places. There's no law like that. To say you must only go to what you call a suburb or whatever. So, but it is the responsibility of the municipalities to ensure that they raise revenue. And this is the South African Human Rights Commission. We do support all efforts to raise revenue, but of course, the efforts must be lawful. Even the law, when it's cutting, you don't just wake up and just cut it. There has to be due process. So whatever means you employ to generate revenue, it must be it must follow due process. So we are supporting, and we've been challenging municipalities wherever they are, that you must start raising revenue from everyone who can afford, whether they're in the township, whether they're in the suburb, whether they are. Thank you so much.
And maybe to add on that, PM, you also raised this issue sharply in the recent meeting we had with WACLO.
Yes.
The first question was, there were about 6 gentlemen in the room who said, are you paying for services? Since you are reaching the threshold. Then
Who work
I-
for the municipality.
Yes, it's the managers in the municipality. Are you paying? So I will not bore you, I will not tell you the answer, but there was an answer. And if you remember as well, Commissioner, during the subpoena inquiry that involved Moses Kota, people are stealing water. We did not receive a case, a criminal case, to say that somebody they've opened a case to start now plugging the holes that are taking up the revenue that they are supposed to be using to render these services. Let me park it there, let me not take it further. I will hand it to you, Commissioner, to respond to the other questions that have been put. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Program Director, and thank you to the questions. Firstly, let me just acknowledge the role that the media is playing. When we conduct our own accord investigations, most of the time we rely on news reports that we have seen on different platforms to also assist us to motivate the reasons for the own accord investigation. So we really value the role that the media plays in, one, identifying challenges, reporting on information that they receive from whistleblowers, and where it falls within the mandate of the Commission, we obviously also get involved. There's numerous examples just with regards to water and sanitation, based on news reports, now recently in Gauteng again, where we will also be getting involved. So thank you to the media. Disrespect towards institutions with authority, it is a serious concern, and it does not only affect the Human Rights Commission. Before this appointment 2 years ago, I also served as a commissioner in the Public Service Commission, where we also had similar challenges of recommendations not being implemented. Remedial action of the Public Protector is not being implemented. We have seen that the Auditor General's findings and Auditor General's reports are just getting worse and worse and worse by the day. There's simply an absolute disrespect for authority in this country, especially with regards to your Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 institutions. But even worse, there's an absolute disregard for our communities and how they are living and how they are receiving services. Blatant disrespect for authority, but for ordinary people as well. Now, you've referred to Macelonyana. Yes, indeed, we brought an application to bring immediate redress to those communities that have not had access to water for a long time. I was recently informed by the provincial manager in the Free State Province that there's been some improvement. We were actually considering 2 months ago to consider bringing a a contempt application, but I recently been informed that there has been some improvement. So with regards to continuing with our litigation, the provincial manager has spoken to that extensively. Funds permitting, we will continue doing that. We have to do that. We have to bring redress to our communities. But we will also consider dealing with complaints and dealing with the challenges in the manner that we find fit. Now, you've touched on a very, very important aspect. And in the Northern Cape, if those of you probably watched the Northern Cape Service Delivery Inquiry that was held over 2 weeks in the Northern Cape, I was very, very clear about this aspect. The aspect of recycling municipal managers. You would commit some misconduct in one municipality and you would be removed just to surface again at another municipality. When you surface at that other municipality, the municipal councillors would perhaps not like you, and within a year, you are removed again and you are taken to another municipality. We are going to make clear recommendations with regards to the recycling of municipal managers. It's not only happening in the Northern Cape. You've referred to the Northwest, it's happening here. When a municipal manager is not performing, or in most cases, there's a cloud rather around that municipal manager. You can just wait a year or so and that municipal manager would be somewhere else. We've seen it in the Free State Province. Just yesterday, I was phoned by a member of parliament telling me that a municipal manager in a specific municipality, a very problematic one, has now been removed and there's an acting municipal manager in that municipality. But we don't know for how long before that acting municipal manager will again be replaced by someone else. So with regards to the recycling, we're aware and we are going to make specific recommendations with regards to that. The launch of that report should probably be in March next year. We've concluded the investigation, the inquiry, and the report is being drafted. It's going to be quite a voluminous report, 31 municipalities. But also, something that also emerged, and I can guarantee you it's happening in the Northwest Province PM, is the role of district municipalities. The primary role of a district municipality is to support local municipalities. But how are they doing it? I'm not sure exactly how it's done in the Northwest Province, but how they normally do it is they allow, they would provide some technical support to local municipalities, either allowing them to participate in some audit committee structure, or they would assist with advice on technical services, infrastructure services, advice on the finalization of your financial statements. But in the Northern Cape, not one district municipality contributed 1 cent to municipal infrastructure. Nothing. Some of them would, through the equitable share, would receive around 170 million rand per annum, of which 90% is spent on operations, salaries, and the purpose, the intention of a district municipality to support local municipalities is simply ignored. simply ignored. Thank you. So then on the technical skills, thank you for the information with regards to that specific municipality. But what is important for us is, and we've seen it in all provinces, one, are understaffed. Two, they don't have the skills to perform the work. Underqualified people are appointed to perform very important work in technical departments and skills development. But appointing skilled employees is even more important to ensure that we address the infrastructure challenges, the technical challenges in our technical departments. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to add, Commissioner, to the issues that have been raised, the issue of the nature of the discourse, is it changing to address the current operational context? And I will say, I will confirm, as you've indicated in the Northwest, it is changing. That's why you would have noted that we are increasingly resorting to our powers to subpoena, to litigate, because indeed we are operating in a context where public representatives are incapable of shame. You know, in other countries, just the mere fact that something bad was said by, about your institution is enough to have public representatives to act. But in a context indeed where, the basic element of shame has been displaced, indeed, it does require that we adapt our the nature of our discourse. And I believe we continue to do that. That's why we are engaging with other stakeholders. We are also increasingly using our powers, including our powers of subpoena, to ensure that there is accountability for lack of responses and the disrespect that may be shown to the Commission. We are taking municipalities who have not complied with court orders. We are instituting contempt of court proceedings, which we'll also be doing here in the Northwest, in the next month or so. So the nature of discourse is changing, but as I've indicated, it may not be at the pace that media stakeholders and South African public may like. But unfortunately, our operations are also constrained by limited resources. But within that context, we are indeed moving to ensure that there's accountability. Also, for me, on the issue you said is Ditsobotla municipality. We are meeting with the administrator this week as well. I believe that issue that you've raised will also be discussed, because it is a concern to me, especially the history that you have shared, because we did have a subpoena hearing, I believe, with the current MM. And one of the issues that emerged in that subpoena hearing is that that same MM was found lying under oath. But if you are even providing that context, that there's a history, is something that we can explore further, because then it's showing a very, very concerning pattern, Commissioner. Perhaps for those of us who are meeting the MM for the first time, we even thought maybe it's just a slip of the tongue, but with the information that you are providing, it may be displaying a very, very dangerous and